Good morning. Welcome to Second Chances. I'm glad you're here. It's a beautiful day today in Southwest Florida. And I probably shouldn't even say that for those of you in the north and in the cold areas in the west. It's a little chilly here today. I have a sweater on, but it's getting up to 70 degrees and that'll be just fine. I just love how blue the sky gets here. We just don't get that at home almost ever, and especially not in the winter. So it's beautiful, and I do love palm trees. But we are not talking about palm trees today. Well, not too much anyway. This is another part in our series of Second Chances, because I really want to get into this year. So many of us have lived full lives and pretty long lives, really, and done a lot of things, but maybe we feel like some of the things, not that we regret, no regrets, but we want to have a second chance at something. And the one I want to touch on today is diet, because a lot of people are concerned about their diet. Either they want to lose weight, or they're just concerned about things they're reading with food additives and how this can ruin your health or cause other health concerns. And so let's dive into that today. I think anybody can improve their diet and improve their health. I don't think it has to be some mystery, and I don't think it has to be as hard as they make it sometimes. I also don't think it has to be all or nothing with one certain kind of diet. And again, you do your own research, you follow what you want to follow, but there's a lot of different diet styles with keto and with vegan and with vegetarian and Mediterranean diets, things like that. And it can feel a little restrictive to people. So I like to focus more on what's really attainable. Because if you focus on these few things, it really does make a big difference. Today we're going to talk about 5 things that you can do right now that you will see results. Number 1, start with one thing. Don't go into it trying to control every aspect of your diet. If you do, you probably will fail. Because to me, diet is more a lifestyle. It's not a said diet. I would encourage you to start with one thing. Give up coffee creamer. Coffee creamer is full of additives most of the time. You can buy some that are a little on the more natural side, but a lot of times it's full of additives. It's no good for you, and it's full of sugar. You won't miss it, I promise. In the beginning, yes, it's going to taste very different, but switch to milk first, because if you do that, it helps make the transition to even going to black coffee. I know it can be done though. It's amazing how many calories and how much sugar and how much just junk you add when you have the fancy coffee, when you stop at the coffee shop. And I know those are delicious, but have you ever looked at the calorie counts on those? You know, it really does come down to calories and how much you burn. A second quick and easy thing you can do to give something up would be soda. Just stop soda completely. It has no value for you. It's loaded again with sugar and chemicals, and it does ruin your health overall over time. So just give that up. Maybe you do just once a week, and then eventually eliminate it. Another thing you could do is one week you say, okay, now I'm going to cut in half every snack that I eat. So if you ate 4 Oreos before, you're going to eat 2 now. You won't miss the other 2. You just have to slow down, enjoy what you're eating, don't mindlessly eat, and don't stress eat. If anybody still puts sugar on their cereal, stop doing that. Maybe at first you have to do just 1 spoonful instead of 2, or maybe a half a spoonful. And my husband was a sugar on cereal person for many, many years. And he decided one day, you know what, that's the one thing that I could give up. And he worked on that for a few months, and then after that, he just didn't want it anymore. Your tastes do change. So again, just give up one thing and stick with that one thing for a week, 2 weeks, and then don't go back. Don't go back the way you were. Go to the next one thing. Number 2, if you're not allergic, add nuts into your diet. Nuts can really take the place of some of that snacking feeling that you need, especially in the evenings. Nuts can be high in calories for sure, and they are high in fats, but it's good fats. At least that's what they tell us. And I like to believe that. But I would start first, if you need to, with the roasted and salted nuts, because they taste most like you're having a snack. Replace the potato chips you eat with nuts. Pistachios are a great one because you have to break open the little shell and you work at that, and it almost feels like you hear that crunch. It almost feels like you're having potato chips. So start that way, and your ultimate goal would be to have raw, unsalted nuts. And if you have high blood pressure, please watch that salt, because you will notice an increase in your blood pressure if you're going to eat a lot of salted nuts, just as if you ate a lot of salted chips. Number 3, stop the processed foods. And right away people say, well, what does that mean? Well, processed foods, of course, are your processed meats like hot dogs and sausage and lunch meat, those types of things. And then, of course, pretty much everything that comes in a box. So in your freezer section, it's the packaged lasagna, it's the packaged meals. Processed foods contain so many additives, preservatives, chemicals, food colorings, all those things that you can't pronounce and you don't know what they are. Yeah, that's processed food. It contains tons of salt and sugars, high fructose corn syrup, partially hydrogenated oils, GMO products. All of those things are really questionable when it comes to your health. And if you read medical news and things like that from time to time, you notice that they're really talking a lot about food additives and how bad it is for your health. So I would suggest, if you eat a lot of processed foods, then again, start small. If you say, okay, no more processed food, well, the first time you get hungry, you're going to run out and buy that frozen pizza or that frozen lasagna because you're hungry. And it's going to take a little while to get your kitchen to a point where you have things that are fast food without it being processed food. So start small, maybe once a week. If you're eating processed food every day, then maybe once a week have a no processed food day. Only real foods. So it's going to be your whole foods. It's going to be grains like oatmeal and rice. And now not everybody feels good on oatmeal. So again, this has to be tailored to you. But grains, it's going to be fruits, it's going to be vegetables. Start slow, start with what you like, and then in time, your taste will change and adapt. Number 4 is stop the sugar. You know I was going to say it. But if you stop the sugar, again, in a small way, maybe first it's stop putting sugar in your coffee or only put half as much, or switch to something like stevia, monk fruit, eventually switch to something like honey or maple syrup. Yeah, you can even put that in coffee. And the reason I go to honey and maple syrup, again, is I feel like they're closest to real food and real products. Now, I don't overdo it with those things, but if I want a little sweet sometime, that's the products I'll use. If you're really addicted to sugar and you really crave sugar, it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's a worthy goal to work towards. Don't try to do this all in a month or in a week, because when you do it like that, it's so easy to fail. Giving up sugar is a worthy goal, but it can take time, and just do it in steps. Don't look at it as, oh, I'm never going to have sugar again, because then you're going to get discouraged. So don't do that. Just give up one thing that you can easily give up, or cut it in half to start minimizing your sugar intake. Number 5 is give up the fast food. And again, this can be a tough one because we don't realize how many times we just go through a drive-through. It's so convenient, and you're really hungry, and you just say, oh, look, there's the one I really like, and you go through that one, and pretty soon you're eating lots of processed food, lots of sugar. So a good way to start with giving up fast food is maybe just switch the soda out to water and still get your fast food. Don't have the French fries, or get the small French fries instead of the large. In time, you won't miss that. It's going to be steps to do that. You might want to just eat the sandwich without the roll. That's a good one. That will cut down on a lot right there. And another one would be to go to a salad instead of having the sandwich and the fries. That one to me can be a little bit harder, but some people find that that works for them. So whatever works for you, that's what you're going to do. But if you're going through a drive-through, and I'm talking even like Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, because a lot of times those beverages that you're getting are just loaded with sugar and additives. You're going to need a little more time to get away from it, because it's really very addictive. Those things they put in foods, they have done studies on that. Like the high fructose corn syrup, it does have an addictive quality about it. So give yourself some grace. Don't try to do it all at once. But say if you go through a drive-through 3 times a week, then cut it down to one time a week. Maybe you have to first cut it down to 2 and then to 1. This one was a really hard one for me because I just love the convenience, and I also get really hungry and I don't plan, I don't have a snack with me, and then there's the drive-through, and it's very easy to do. So I would say, again, take it in smaller steps, and don't try to just say, I'm never going through a drive-through again, because then you'll fail. Another thing to keep in mind with fast food is that a lot of the reasons we go to fast food is we're really hungry, we don't have time to prepare something at home, or we're really tired. So in this instance, I usually do have some fully cooked sausage at home, which again, it's a processed food, but you know what? I'm going in stages here, so I'll get the most natural sausages that I can get, and I'll have that I can do really quickly with some rice, and especially if I have leftover rice, something like that, and that takes the place of that fast food meal in the drive-through. So there are your 5 goals. 5 goals that really are not that hard to do. At first, like I said, you hear this and it feels like a lot, but don't make it a lot. Just do 1. And I do find that this is far easier than saying, I'm going to do a vegan diet, I'm going to do a keto diet. It's those all or nothing diets work very well for some people, but other people, it's very hard to go to that, and it's very discouraging, and it's hard to keep with it. So by changing your food as a lifestyle, then I feel like that is a more doable goal. Your end goals are going to be no sugar, no fast food, no processed food, and we didn't talk about this, but no gluten is actually going to be on that list as well, just because they've found so many things recently in recent years about gluten. And some people have problems digesting gluten, but for other people, gluten doesn't bother them. But if you cut down on your gluten and you want to lose weight, you will, just because when you cut down on gluten or eliminate it, now you're eliminating a lot of the bread and the white doughs and the pizza crust and all those things that really can pack on the weight. So whatever your goal is, whether you want to lose weight or you want to just get healthier, you want to watch your cholesterol or your high blood pressure, whatever your goal is, it is attainable, but it has to be a small step. A small step is much easier to keep. It's really true that just by doing one small thing, it can make such a difference. My husband lost 25 pounds without dieting. He didn't diet at all, but he eliminated his processed food. He eliminated soda right away. He eliminated that sugar that he put on his cereal and even on Frosted Flakes, oh my. And he eliminated the sugar he put in his coffee. And those were his initial steps, and he lost 25 pounds without, and he says it was without even dieting. So that's a good goal to have. That's a good goal to have, just to change for you, to make it what you want it to be. And in time, your taste will change and you won't have those cravings anymore, I promise. Because in the beginning, it can be pretty tough. But again, one thing at a time. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for coming along today. Thanks for joining in this Second Chance series. I hope it's going to be helpful to you, and I hope it's going to give you hope that you can make changes, and they can be changes for the better. Thanks for hanging out today. I'll see you next time. Bye.